Welcome to week 12 of Monday Daydreaming. In today's episode, we are looking at a old school classic western from 1958 called The Bravados. It's not the most popular western title, I would say, but it is in desperate need of a proper 4K restoration. I think it would look absolutely excellent. It does have some great scenes during the daytime. The dark scenes are just like a tint on the camera. And you can totally tell it's just a tint on the camera, because you can still see the sun is shining through and blue skies, but it's just a darker blue. So you can see that, and I think that's just part of the film. I don't think that necessarily will be fixed with 4K, but it's just the movie itself has not really had any restoration work that I could see, except for back on Blu-ray, there is a Twilight Blu-ray of it, limited to 3,000 prints. So that's the only really Blu-ray version there is of that movie. In North America, there is a German Blu-ray, but that's probably region locked to be. I haven't tested it personally, but I would assume it would be region locked. So unless you have a region Blu-ray player, you cannot really get this film on Blu-ray easily. Back on Western Month, I did watch this for the first time, and it is probably one of my favorite westerns that I did watch. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the story. It's more of a unique story. It's based on Jim Douglas, which is the main character of the film. He comes to this small community where these men are going to be executed for their crimes. I'm not sure. I don't remember 100% what their crimes all were, but for their crimes, they're going to be executed. And then he arrives in town, and no one knows him in the town. Nobody knows him. He's new to that town. He's a stranger. So everybody's precautious about him. But they still let him in, even though when he first arrives, they weren't going to let him in. And then the hangman eventually shows up, and he helps the prisoners escape from their execution. He's not actually the executioner. And then it's a chase through the mountains and the hills in this desert to try to find the prisoners that escaped. And Jim Douglas thinks that they are the ones that kill his family. But in actuality, they weren't the ones that killed his family and not the murderers. After he killed a bunch of them, he realizes that they're not the ones that killed his family. And it ends up that his neighbor is the one that actually killed them. It's a big twist, and honestly, I don't want to I already kind of spoiled it at this point, but if you haven't watched it, definitely watch it. Has a great twist in it. It's phenomenal. I loved it. The editing choices, of course, you can't really do much about that. The dark tint on the camera does make it look like nighttime. You can't really fix that. It's just the way the film was made. It's the director's choice back then. It's just the time of the 50s. 1958 this came out, remember. So that can't really be fixed. But I do think this does need a full-on restoration with Dolby Vision. I still think overall it would look absolutely amazing. There is some editing choices, like you mentioned, that obviously won't age the best. Now for the soundtrack, I always love soundtracks. Like I love the original sound. I always listen to both. I just love sound upgrades though, so Dolby Atmos would probably not have it on this film, but I think it would be amazing if it did. But a 5.1 would be fine. Give us the original mono and all that as well. Give us some options. That's what I like options when it comes to audio. So give us the original, give us an Atmos maybe, give us 5.1. Just something for us to have options would be fantastic. Not looking for too much on the audio. Mostly just a visual upgrade is needed here. And like I said, the only Blu-ray release in North America is that Twilight limited edition to 3000 release. You might still be able to get it on somewhere. I don't know. I remember seeing it on Blu-ray.com for $33 new somewhere. I'm not sure where that is. I didn't follow the link, but maybe you can still get it new. Maybe they didn't sell it yet. But I think this film is a 20th Century Fox film, so I don't think Disney again. We all know Disney, they're not going to do it. They're just not going to put the effort into this film, even though they definitely should. This film does have a 100% Rotten Tomatoes score, so I think that is pretty impressive for any film to get 100%. So for that reason, that is definitely impressive, and I do think it should have a 4K. I really wish Disney would just license some stuff. This would be great if Kino Lorber could pick this up and do a proper restoration. They already have a couple other westerns in their catalog that would, and this would just line up perfectly with that. And I think there's so many westerns that 20th Century Fox owns. This and the Sundance Kid, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. There's another one. We'll talk about that one later on, but that's another one that's owned by 20th Century Fox, and it should be Kino Lorber would do that as well. Phenomenal. But this one definitely needs some restoration work. It deserves some love. Don't hear as many people talk about this western as much as others, but I do think it is highly overlooked, and it's definitely one of my favorites that I watched during that month. And I definitely will rewatch this again, and hopefully that 4K will come out. And I do recommend watching it, but that is the end of today's video. Let me know what you think of this film. Let me know what you think of the possibility of this film coming to 4K. Do you think Disney will release it? Do you think Kino Lorber? Do you think Criterion? I think probably Criterion, most likely, just because that's the only studio that Disney has worked with recently that I can really name. Mill Creek, but that's just for old catalog titles that are already on Blu-ray, just to keep them in print, basically. That's what that deal was. So I'm really hoping that Kino Lorber could pick it up, but even if Criterion did it, I would not complain. It'd just be a little bit more expensive if Criterion picked it up, but if we get this on 4K, I'd be super happy, and I really hope Disney starts to release these, because we need them. They deserve it. So again, Disney, we're just talking about Disney a lot in this series so far, but it's just they're the ones that haven't really been touching their catalog titles. That's the one that has the most catalog titles that are untouched. So obviously they're going to be brought up quite a bit in this series, but I'm going to try to find some other ones, other studios in the next couple of videos, just to kind of keep away from Disney for a while. But that's it for this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, and thank you for watching.